Let's take you live now to Dublin Castle. We're watching wonderful pictures actually coming from there of the inauguration of Connolly as the Republic of Ireland's 10th president. She has just started talking. Let's listen in.
An céad ara an túisceart Michelle Smith agus na ceannairí eile ó gach cairn den túisceart. Go bhhaitlim 100 míle fáilte a chur raibh mo chlann freisin atá anseo. Má bhirtmhaach, má arcéile, má grifúracha, má greitháracha, hastal siad ó cean an domhan.
Connolly, who is the new president of Ireland. She's an independent politician elected in a landslide vote, you might remember, at the end of October. She defeated Fine Gael candidate Heather Humphreys. 68 years old, she's going to take over the role from the man you just saw behind her, Michael D Higgins, whose 14-year term ended at midnight. So it's being attended around her. There are politicians, judges, lots of other invited guests as well. Let's have a listen as she talks to everyone there at the castle.
To articulate their vision for a new republic. A republic worthy of its name, where everyone is valued and diversity is cherished, where sustainable solutions are urgently implemented, and where a home is a fundamental human right. The change that led to this joyful day began with a small group of elected representatives and volunteers facing what appeared to be insurmountable challenges. We were led to believe that it was too great a leap, that our ideas were too far out, too left, at odds with the prevailing narrative. In shared conversations all over the country, however, it became evident that the dominant narrative did not reflect or represent people's values and concerns. Time and time again, people spoke of how it served to silence, to other, to label, to exclude, and to stifle critical thinking. Along with that, however, along with meaningful engagement, we saw the emergence of hope. We saw the emergence of joy, along with the courage and determination of people to use their voices to shape a country that we can be proud of. As President of Ireland, I will ensure that all voices are represented, heard and valued, and promote a public discourse that nourishes inclusivity, tolerance and active citizenship. Previous presidents faced different challenges reflecting the dominant issues of the day. In 1990, Mary Robinson, and I want to welcome Mary Robinson and her husband Nick, when Mary was elected, the parameters of geopolitics were shifting following the fall of the Berlin Wall the previous year and the dissolution of the Soviet Union, while at home, Ireland was undergoing its own seismic changes, laying the foundation for a modern and inclusive society. In 1997, 1 year before the Good Friday Agreement, the former President Mary McAleese, and again I want to welcome the former President and her husband Nick, when she was elected in the midst of the ongoing peace process, a landmark event in shaping a shared vision for the future of Ireland. In 2011, Michael D Higgins assumed office, and again I want to pay tribute to his courage and his work. Michael D assumed office as the global financial collapse shook Ireland and the world. The reverberations of that crisis continue to impact upon and shape people's lives and our economy. Now in 2025, as I assume the privilege of office, we face existential threat of climate change and the threat of ongoing wars. Both, of course, are inextricably linked. As I speak, I am acutely conscious of the 165 million people currently forcibly displaced from their homes and countries due to war, famine, and climate change. We cannot turn back the clock nor close our eyes to these realities. These are the challenges of our times, and our actions or inaction will determine the world our children and grandchildren will inherit. It is both an individual and a collective challenge, and one which obliges us to reflect on the way we live and interact with our world and with each other. It is also the responsibility of those entrusted with public office to come together, both nationally and internationally, to lead and to create the conditions for a sustainable existence on our planet. It is significant that today is Remembrance Day, the 11th of the 11th, 2025. It is significant. It's significant on so many levels, but it gives us the opportunity to pause and to reflect on the horrors of war in a world where, unfortunately, we have all become witnesses to ongoing wars and genocide. Given our history, the normalisation of war and genocide has never been and will never be acceptable to us. As a sovereign, independent nation with a long and cherished tradition of neutrality and an uninterrupted record of peacekeeping since 1958, Ireland is particularly well placed to lead and articulate alternative diplomatic solutions to conflict and war. Indeed, our experience of colonisation and resistance, of a catastrophic man-made famine and forced immigration, gives us a lived understanding of dispossession, hunger and war, and a mandate for Ireland to lead. We can and should take real pride in the success of the Good Friday Agreement, knowing that this is recognised far and wide and is a model for the peaceful resolution of conflict. We also know that this journey of peace and reconciliation was the result of meticulous and methodical work over a long period of time, and this work continues to this day. I look forward to paying my first official visit to the North and meeting with people from all communities and celebrating the rich and heritage and traditions of all who live there. I am particularly conscious of Article 3 of the Constitution, which sets out in detail the firm wish of the Irish people, the Irish nation, to have a united Ireland, albeit with the conditions set out very clearly in that article consent. As President, I will foster an inclusive and open dialogue across the island in a manner that highlights and recognises our similarities and respects our differences. I want to acknowledge our large and growing diaspora. There is hardly a family on this island that does not have a personal experience of migration. On every continent, our immigrants have put their ingenuity and hard work at the service of new homelands. Yet they have kept their love of Ireland and its culture deep in their hearts. I hope over the next 7 years that there will be many opportunities for me to celebrate with them and share our experiences. I have never believed more in the spirit of this country. Having travelled the length and breadth of the island, I have witnessed it in every county, in every corner of Ireland. I've heard it in the music, the literature and the dance of our people, in the deep tradition of solidarity and decency that continues to be the dominant force behind our people. I have felt it in the quiet dignity and stoicism of those who simply keep going despite the very real challenges that they face. I sifse muintir na tíre, cos muintir na tíre, a cosúorm, agus mé fud na tíre, a spraig mé agus a spraig mé iirden le linn an achtas. Sifse a hui agus a héin ingle le aspi sharvishi agus riachtanis gach labio aspi.
We have been watching Catherine Connolly, the new Irish president, addressing an audience of diplomats, of former presidents who are there, politicians and others who have come for her inauguration ceremony at Dublin Castle. She talked about inclusivity and tolerance and said that she wanted to make sure that all voices were represented, heard and valued, and acknowledged the large and growing diaspora as well in Ireland, and talked about the existential threat to climate change and the ongoing wars that the world has faced. So just laying out how she sees her upcoming time in office. But to remind you, the Republic's president is the country's head of state, but this is a non-executive role that she is taking up today. So we will leave Catherine Connolly at the castle in Dublin as the inauguration continues. They go on from there today to a state reception which will take place at the castle a little later.